Hi, family. My name is Marvin. I'm definitely a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals off the gray sheet, turn them over to my sponsor, and abstinence and my higher power is the most important thing in my life. Um, I'm one of those compulsive overeaters that come from big numbers. I came around 1992 and St. Patrick's Day and never looked back. Um, I don't think I'm lucky, but I'm blessed. And I was in denial for a long time because I come from another 12-step program, and as a young man, so I grew up in the 12-step programs. So um, before I came into grad, I was in. So I'm coming this November, be 38 years in another program. I won't mention it. Uh, I don't like to mention other programs when I'm sharing. Um, But I'm gonna tell you, it has really changed my life. I never thought that weighing and measuring 3 meals off the gray sheet would change my life. Um, where I come from, I thought that I did some work. Once I started weighing and measuring my food, I said, "What type of work did I do?" And I'm gonna tell you, when I in 90 days, right? Because it was not a lot of men, you know, and where I was at in New York, there still is, but in the city, that was weighing and measuring their food. There was a few of us, and they had me on some numbers. So in 90 days, I lost like 110 pounds, and I wasn't feeling that. I was thinking about. I was starting to feel kind of, weak and stuff like that. But today, the men know how to monitor the men. At that particular time, I probably needed more food. Uh, and they started to give me more food and I started to feel better. But I would never think that today that I would say that's the most spiritual thing I do in a day, and I have another meal coming. Um, I have experienced a lot of different things in this process. I heard Matt talk about what he's experienced, and I experienced a lot of death, um, children, married twice, first wife decided to put a bullet in her head, and she was in GSA. Um, I don't know if I would never got involved with service, doing some things here, and being one of those tools to have what we have today to make sure it doesn't, disappear. And I did some things. Um, I remember talking to one of my sponsees, and I was sitting. It was probably 1994, and I started to ask questions, and because I know that this gray sheet that we go by originated in OA, but I was looking for some literature. I wanted more. Just not just weighing and measuring my food, just being abstinent from the substance. I wanted to try to recover a day at a time, so I wanted to read up on myself, right? Because that's where I was taught in the 12-step program, and I started to ask questions, and then they started telling me certain things. They don't do food plants no more. I found out that we was in not these meetings was really basically renegade in New York. I don't know about any other place. They might have been, GSA, gray sheet people friendly in some other states or whatever. I just wanted to have something more than what we have because this program has basically showed me how to live instead of surviving. So I wanted more. And so I started doing some things. Um, the first thing that I did was I said, well, we need a committee to bring it to the New York Roundup that was really where a lot of people would show up to. And I said, we'll bring it there and stuff like that and see what people think and get an intergroup underneath OA. I'm young. I'm running, and I'm saying we need to do this. So I didn't. We had to met up on 86th Street in Amsterdam, and so we had got a little committee together. I said, listen, I don't want to be the chairperson of bringing this survey, to basically the world at that particular time, because a lot of people from different parts of the world that come there and the whole nine. Um, but they wound up saying, no, you got to be the chairperson. So we did the survey. We got it together. We're about five, six of us. We brought it there and asked if they wanted to have an intergroup on the way. Um, I asked OA in California World Service, and they told me about four traditions it was against. And the next thing I know, there's some things happen. That's how we became GSA. But I know I only have 15 minutes, but then in 1998, we wound up getting, corporate incorporated nonprofit status. I didn't do it by myself. When some years after that, we wound up purchasing, um, because I didn't purchase because we used, the seventh edition to purchase that gray sheet from them. They threatened to sue me a couple of times. I laughed at it. Another 12-step self-help program gonna sue me. Okay, then sue me, and made a decision at that particular time to purchase it. And I think it's the best thing I ever did in my life with people. This is a weed program, and everything that I've been through in life, man, it is people will always have been there for me. Now, yesterday was a year since my loss, my mother, she passed. And she was my spiritual advisor, but also my mother, I watched her some people will probably be grateful to have their mother for another 20 years if they was in a nursing home and they were able to communicate with her. But it was a different type of communication, me and my mother had. And she used to I always call her my spiritual advisor. She was always giving me some wise suggestions, right? And she's also a 12 stepper, but she came in because I led by example. And so she came into the 12-step program that I was in, and she stayed there, and she died clean. And, you know, on that particular day, on the 10th of March, right? She died, but on the 3rd of March, this is leading up to my anniversary is the 17th. So it's just a 7-day thing. She wasn't feeling well. She was in the hospital. They moved her. I said, I got to get down there. It was on a Friday. I got down there. And any place in the Bronx, where she was at, Montefiore, it's hard to park. And I got a big truck, and it was a big space. And I said, this is the higher power, right? And so I went in there and I seen my mother before any of my sisters and brothers went to see her. So when I started using the technology like we do with the Zoom, and so my sister has an Android, so I had to actually do her, and then I just basically messaged my other brother and sister, and we all was there at the same time, and we had a conversation with my mother. And what was the beautiful thing at the end of the thing that we was able to say the Serenity prayer together. I didn't know for the last time. Uh, Um, and then a week later she passed, and that's history. And she'll always be there for me. And my father, he passed 5 years prior to that, and they both kind of died kind of young. And I just, um, I don't know if I have really, really have grieved my parents, you know. And one of my sisters, my younger sister, my brother died. I mean, all in between this time, I was having people in my family die, but this was really close. It's people that I basically grew up with in the household. And so it was different for me. Um, I'm just truly grateful, and my mother used to always tell me I have a gift. I said, well, everybody has a gift. You mean I have a gift? I ain't no special than anybody else. And as people would say, Mom, you have a gift. I said, yeah, yeah, we all have a gift, because we in the self-help program. Um, I tell you, no matter what's going on in my life, eating in between does not make sense to me because it's not going to change anything in my life. But if I weigh and measure my food 3 times a day, change is coming. And guess what? The change is not up to me. It's up to something that's greater than myself. And I believe in God. And if you don't, good order direction, God, higher power, whatever. But it have to be something that's greater than me. I'm a human being. I am imperfect. And the only thing I try to do with a sponsor and every is to get better. You know, the food on the gray sheet is great. It's good food. Some of those other things that I used to indulge in and break out in fast food restaurants, I was just doing that to basically get outside of myself. And I remember being a child and going back and forth to the refrigerator. And my family, they say you're greedy. Didn't know I had a problem. So food was my first love, but I didn't realize that until I got abstinent, you know. And so I've been as long as as a little kid, I've been a compulsive overeater. And then when I got older, I started to use other things, and I forgot about how I used to indulge into the food. And once I put those things on, I went running the session and compulsion to eat the way I was eating kicked in, and I didn't know what was going on. I know the transformation of what I didn't even recognize myself at some point, the reflections of the glass, sitting in the subway and starting to take up 2 seats, all these different type of things. And some people don't have to experience those things because even people that's anorexics and bulimic have their story. And I feel
That's
that it's
12 minutes,
thank
Marvin.
you. Thank you. And I feel that it's 3 ways we can do it. It might be a fourth way, it might be a fifth way. I say it all the time of how I can just physically destroy myself. I mean, the peace of mind that I have in between my ears. The committee is quiet. I mean, the committee is really quiet. And I remember when I got a little bit of when it got quiet for a second, I started to think I was going crazy, not understanding the peace that was coming from what I was doing with my food. And as time went on, this peace I cannot even explain, but I can identify it today. I thought I was starting to go crazy, you know. But what I did was that I didn't eat in between. I talked to people about it, and hey, Marvin, you're starting to get a little peaceful within yourself. Because I mean, the committee, that's who I listen to all the time. Even though I was in the other 12-step program, and I would let my emotions control my intellect all the time. But once I start weighing, measuring my food, and go deeper into the steps and doing different things in life, I tell you what, I never thought that I will be highly spiritual. Um, you know, I I just didn't think that that was going to happen for me. Um, you know, because I know one thing I had to do was get abstinent. Then I started to actually uh, clean up the house, and now today I'm recovering, and I'm not recovered. I'm a recovering person, but each day to go by, and anyone that doesn't have as much time, years that I have, this is a day at a time, a moment at a time, a heartbeat at
One
a time.
one minute
As
left.
yeah, uh, and so as time goes on, I'm 32 years is almost up. It's not even here yet. I'm close to it, um, but I can't believe that that I've been doing this for this long, but just doing it for one meal, one day, that's a miracle in itself. And so those things start to add up, and they start to add up to months. They start to add up to years. They start to add up to decades. And I am truly blessed that I can share that and give my experience faith and hope that no matter what, No matter who, no matter how I feel, eating doesn't make sense to me. Thank you for letting me share.